All right. Good morning, hump day, YouTube. Halfway through the week. How's everybody doing? A little slow on the uptake this morning. Having to get the cup of Joe. Hope everybody's doing good. Check in the side chat. Let us know you're out there. Put in any comments or news or otherwise that you may have in your area. So we'll start off with the weather again. That nor'easter, as they're calling it, hitting out there on the East Coast. They're getting the snow and whatnot. I have anecdotal evidence there's snow in North Carolina. Well, I guess it's not anecdotal when there's pictures and video, but I guess maybe first person accounts. Secondhand information, but first person accounts. I don't know. I'm relaying it to you guys. So snow is down south through the Blue Ridge Mountains is going on, and everybody else looks like you're doing all right. So I got a little weather moving in on the coast here in the next day or so, next 24 hours maybe. But they are talking about this storm coming off the East Coast again. The nor'easter, as they're calling it, is coming in. There's their video. It's saying more is to come, is what he's saying. Those are temperatures right there, 10, 15 degrees. So it's not as bad as last week, he's saying. So what's there to worry about, right? Actually, there's saying more. It's a colder storm, so more snow in the big cities, I guess, up to a foot and a half in New York City. Good times. Shut it down, right? Much snowier along the I-94-5 corridor than last week, etc. Power outages, heavy snow, still flooding along the seaboard. Good times. So if you didn't have fun last week during the storm, you're bound to have some this week, right? So hit after hit, winter is not going away quickly. It looks like for any of you involved. But like we said, there's a forecast. You got some good 12-foot, 18-inch measurements, 2 feet up in Maine areas. Nice. Keep those skis and snowshoes out. Don't put them away just yet. Make sure you got your backup generator ready. Anybody that doesn't follow Prepper Nurse, he has a channel. He's out of upstate New York. He's off grid on solar and everything, dealing with the snow. It's a good channel to watch when he's going through these storms, how he adjusts his power consumption. He has to use generators sometimes, etc. But it's a good take on off gridding, especially in an environment like that. So there's again the current picture. Let's check in on what's going on here in the side chat. Barry Wood is with us. Poison Stinger joined us. Good morning, gentlemen. Weather's fine where you guys are. You guys are out here with me. We're stuck at clear skies, spring-like weather, I would say. It's not in the 70s up here, though. Goodness, Stinger, it's pretty warm. It's in the, I guess you'd say 50s around here. And M Long has snow. Yeah, M Long, I think I can see your house right there under that snow right there. That's what the only thing in Kentucky that's got snow is right there. So I figured that's close to Louisville, isn't it? Poison Stinger. Yeah, you're kind of off grid, Stinger, but you haven't been doing videos on how your consumption have to yet adapt, and you're not quite there yet where Prepper Nurse is at. He's got the full setup going. But it's all good. You'll get there. You're doing your videos on improving your area. That's good. So we'll start with a warm up in the stock market before we get to the main event story today. I've kind of got a focus topic, focus story to get into. So I want to hit things. Well, I don't know why it's way down at the bottom. Dow is down. The Dow is up and going crazy off of, and they're always blaming it on something. This is supposedly it's because of Gary Cohen. Yesterday is because of nuclear. North Korea was going to get rid of nuclear weapons. It bumped up. This guy gets fired. It bumps down. It's all over the place because it can't figure out what it's going to do because of bond yields. I'm telling you, people. Bond yields are going to cause the market to go sideways, if not down. But everybody's blaming it on something other signal outside of economics. So we're still lingering up to close to 2.9 on that, awaiting the next Fed rate hike. Everything is in the red. But apparently jobs came out, and we've added positions of non-farm payrolls, as they usually say. Just the quick stats off the top of this article. Private payrolls rose by 235,000. At least it wasn't government jobs, I guess. Well above estimates. But it's actually slower than last January, as last January was upward of 244,000. Interesting. We'll link through to that. All those good jobs and the market's still down. So we'll link through to that. Story on the zero hedge. Yield sends recession warning. I don't know why this video is playing. Has nothing to do with the article. Close. I can't close it. But article last week estimated that when the next U.S. recession and bear market would start based upon where we are in the current yield curve cycle. Talk the bond yield curve and comparing it to the prior 6 economic cycles. So comparing it to the big busts of 87, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll have what's called a warning zone, recessions. As you can see, this is the stock market crash of 27, I believe. It's hard to read. If I can pull that up. Oh, this is 1980. This is actually not even that far back. And we're here in what they call the warning zone, and this is the bond, the 10-year versus the 2-year treasury spread. So the closer they get together, this is the distance in percentage from the bond yield price, 10-year and 2-year difference. They're still +1. This is -1. Wow, the 1979-80 was crazy. But anytime they're down here, it's a warning sign zone based upon his research. Linking that through. That'll be up. So he's discussing in further detail in this article the important chart, which is the one we just showed. So discusses the yield curve and all its descriptions of inverted and flat. Make sure you check that out if you don't really understand what the yield curves may portend. Why do inverted yield curves predict economic recessions? The main reason is because banks borrow at lower, shorter-term interest rates and lend money out at higher long-term interest rates. And the differential or spread between the two rates is where they earn their profit. In addition, yield curve inversions typically occur after several years of interest rate hikes, which have a dampening effect on the economy and financial markets. The Fed usually raises interest rates until something breaks. So just put that out there for everybody to check out. There's always questions about the yield curve. Go back out in the side chat. We got M. Long joining us out of Kentucky. Could buy pensions, he says, right? They're not going to be growing at the needed rate to beat inflation, probably. That's probably the biggest problem. Pretty much the big headline is that guy quit, like we were talking about. Give me a second. Be right back. So we have that going on. All right, we're back. But primarily what I wanted to get into today, I saw this pop up yesterday and I didn't want to get into it without really digging into it because you never know the perception of the angle people are coming at. So I didn't want to hit it off the cuff yesterday when I saw it pop up. But in the Zero Hedge yesterday, I believe I saw this first. And it was talking about Seattle style gun confiscation was here, and they were confiscating. And we talked about the mental health seizure teams, basically, where they preemptively seizure firearms. And there's the primary headline out of that. And it links to two stories by opinion columnists, one over at the SHTF plan and one over at David Harris Jr. And they are obviously opinion articles, and they get into their own devolving into the what is the police state situation and whatnot. So just backtracked a little bit, looking for the original article to really get what we were getting at here. Going off the Zero Hedge article. So basically, a Seattle man had a gun confiscated by police after breaking no laws. They took it without a warrant, without pressing any charges. That's the key here. And we talked about this has been going on in California for a while, but now this is in Seattle, which is always close to the infestation that is California. They call it a red flag law, which has taken hold in other states already, as we just discussed previously, with the especially mental health red flags. So this man living in a place called Belltown was the first to have his firearm confiscated without any formal arrest charges. The man authorities. based upon a neighbor's complaint, and we'll get into the details in the actual article. Well, not in the actual article, but in the local article out of Seattle. When I looked it up, it's coming out of, this is Como News out of Seattle. That's the big news station. So this is the hot take of the liberal elite. And they are proud to proclaim state police first in state to seize gun under mental health law. So I guess this small town is close enough to Seattle that they use the same police force, or Belltown may be just a neighborhood. So it's called Extreme Risk Protection Order. The man lives in Belltown, who neighbors said had been intimidating people for the past year, even staring down customers through storefront windows with a gun holstered at his side. Without seeing, I mean, who determines what staring down customers is? It's a very subjective term. You're window shopping, walking down the street. Mental health is suspected, of course. How else would you justify it? He was roaming the hallways with a 25 caliber automatic, said Tony Montana. How does Tony Montana get to Seattle? Who knows the man from his apartment complex? Tony Montana cannot be his real name. Right? This has got to be a joke, right? That's one of the things when you're reading like Zero Hedge, you're like, are you seriously? You just got me to look up a guy's name, Tony Montana? So a guy gave a false name to just protect his identity, probably. Tony Montana. Are you kidding me? So I guess this Como News fell for it, I guess, and I would put unidentified. I mean, who doesn't know who Tony Montana is? And it created a lot of fear, obviously, because I didn't know if he was coming after me or going to just start shooting up the place. If you were that fearful, why would you not flee or fight? But here's a key to help all your fellow. This is why you need to carry every chance you get. Everybody in your neighborhood, everybody in your community needs to carry open carry firearms so that Tony Montana here can figure out what a 25 caliber automatic is, and it's not what you're carrying on your side as your sidearm. I don't even know what a 25 caliber pistol would look like. What caliber is 25 caliber? Has anybody ever seen a 25 caliber pistol? Some eccentric gun of some sort? That makes no sense. So Tony Montana needs to see firearms daily so he can quickly identify exactly what you're carrying and understand that you're also carrying a semi-automatic. Because Tony Montana, being the expert he is, not only did he not know if he was going to flee or fight, he couldn't even identify the pistol properly because he doesn't even know what a pistol looks like. Probably he just made it up. 25 caliber automatic. Ridiculous. So huge red flags on this whole story and the fear, emotional driven agenda of these people. The man who is not named is also well known to the bars and restaurants below his second, along second. The volume of complaints convinced Seattle police to seek an extreme risk protection order to legally remove guns. He refused to comply. Police returned with a warrant and forced the man to surrender the firearm. They still quote Tony Montana. And he is quoted. This is Tony Montana's quote. I am very supportive of this. Perfect case in point where it has some efficacy. Obviously, Tony Montana is an educated guy. It was an immediate crisis. Immediate. It was so immediate they had to wait for the day, police and them to come back instead of fighting for his life on the spot. And law enforcement was able to remove his firearm, so it is could have saved lives. So a few dozen of these have been served and executed around the state. So what they do is they deliver the papers to you and you surrender it. The owners hand it over. This is the first guy that didn't hand it over. I see. Beta test, as Bikes and Bullets would say. Look it up, people. I'll link it over. If you believe Tony Montana, I guess I don't blame a Mr. Unidentified at all. So that's out of Seattle. What we got on the side chat? Let me catch up here. Oh, we got a ton of people chatting away in the side. Daggum. I missed out on the whole chat. You can do it with us. Good morning, Yvette's vlog. Good evening here in Hong Kong. Well, thanks for joining. Wow. We got international on us. You can do it. He's drinking his coffee. Rooster Cogburn is with us. Howdy. Good morning. Nice. Just listen away. You don't like that last story, I'm sure. Oh, so you have seen a 25 automatic? It wasn't automatic though, was it, Rooster? You saw it in the pawn shop, but it has to still be semi-automatic, right? Poison Stinger, it's in between a 3.8 and a 9 mil, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly, Rooster. That was my point. I think Tony Montana is just a made-up soda name because he didn't want to say his real name to the news, which I guess is cool, but I have a hard time believing that this Tony Montana character could identify a 25 automatic if he saw it. And how small is this pistol you're talking about, Stinger? A purse gun. If it was on his hip, would it even be big enough to look like bigger? I mean, how would it be so overwhelmingly intimidating? So I don't want to turn the rest of the chat into this chat, but that's a concerning story with suspicious facts, as I would call them. So something to be aware of, look into. But again, if we all carried, everybody would be able to identify firearms. And I guess this is a picture of the firearm right here. I had it at the front of this video. I've been retired for 10 years. And of course, and they're going to make you listen to a long video. So Tony Montana was super scared of this little bitty gun, I guess. Maybe it was actually Al Pacino, or right, you can do it. Maybe it was. So this is Tony Montana, I guess, right here. There's Tony. So we know who Tony Montana is now. The guy's so well known that nobody asked him, "Hey, man, what's the deal?" Everybody says he was well known, but nobody actually talked to him about it. So that's the situation there. Beta testing the situation. So what else is going on out there in the world? We got left. We got any links or any stories to look up interesting to you have found in your journey this morning, in your drive to your place of employment? No links in the side chat. Some people are getting snow and we're not. Yep. You can do it. All you guys on the East Coast battening down for another round. But nothing good out there. After I hit that article, it's kind of duck and cover, and the economic side, they're ducking and covering, trying to cover up the. And now we're back in the green after dropping quite significantly at the beginning. I'm not talking about that mess, Rooster Cogburn. I think that's a pretty straightforward case. Rooster says, talk about Sessions suing California over immigration. It's a pretty straightforward thing. It'll the the feds have the authority to enforce the law, but they don't have to require the state to help them. So I don't know what the DOJ wants. I think, yeah, Cali's done for sure, Rooster, but I don't think the feds have a case for forcing Cali to help them. Um, if they want to charge them with obstruction or something, they should do it. I guess if they think that people are impeding officers or whatever because they are tipping off illegals and such like that. I mean, why wouldn't they do it? If you want me to argue for more federal imposition against a state, I'm not gonna do that either though, because I don't believe that's right to begin with. States should have the ability to nullify unjust laws. And they should have been doing it long ago. It's sad that it takes Cali to stand up for this case when there should have been so many other cases that should have been used to states to protect the people and their citizens. Instead, let the feds run all over them because they're on the money train. So we'll put the links on a lot of that stuff, especially that gun confiscation story in the description bar. Watch your weather out there on the East Coast. It's loading up for you. For sure. We'll make sure to link that description of the bond yield, the curve of the yield curve for the bond market as we described in that article. We'll make sure we link that through. So if you need a better understanding of what the yield curve is, it's very important and how it can foreshadow the future of a stock market, recession or otherwise. All right. We're going to wrap it up, folks. Thanks for coming out. M Long is getting more snow than forecasted. Well, it looks like it's parked over you, M Long. It's just that little bitty cell parked over Kentucky. The rest of it's heading up to New York on its own. But y'all go have a good day, hump day. Enjoy it. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Live free.